So, I told you all that I taken your ancestors and I put them under my umbrella, my family umbrella, right? Okay, so I did that. So I also did something else. So I have, um, so I was out searching, looking for shit, clues to figure out, what I'm supposed to do. And God guides me everywhere I go. He tells me where I need to go, what I need to do, and I do it. It's called obedience. It's called, doing what the Father asked and, not complaining, just doing it, no matter what kind of job it is. So one day, I was going back and forth to this church on like 7th Avenue and Van Buren, right there. It's the old Catholic cathedral. Now it's something else. They're saying it's something else, but whatever. Anyways, so I'd go back and forth to this place, and I noticed that there was a child's daycare across the street and a Mason temple on another corner. The northeast corner, or the southeast corner, was the Masonic temple. The southwest corner was the child's daycare, and the northwest corner was the old Catholic cathedral. And every day I'd go there and I would look up at this figure that was inside. It looked like a tower, and there was this figure there with horns, and I would, God said you could talk to him and he'll help you. So I did. I wasn't scared or anything. We became really close, and us becoming close, we we talked about everything. I asked him a question, and he would lead me in the right way where I needed to go, and he had no problem doing that. And everywhere that I needed, what I needed to find, he would show me where it was. So I would always go and I'd always do what he wanted me to do. But one day God says, "Okay, we're gonna do something different today," and I was just like, "Okay, what?" And so I get to the church and he tells me, "Okay, so I'm gonna give you these symbols, or these, I'm gonna tell you what to draw, and I need you to draw them on the, I need you to draw them on the floor, on the wall, and on the stairways in the front of the church." And I'm like, "Okay." So I started drawing. I started drawing them out with my finger. And when I'm doing this, I'm drawing and when I'm doing this, he's telling me, he's speaking to me, he's like, make sure that everything is perfect. You got to do it this way, you do it that way, and so I drew the symbols the way he told me. And when I finally got done, I was standing in front of the street, from the street to the curb. I was on the street and the curb. And when I got done, I looked up at the tower and I saw that he had lit up the tower where this, I can't say demon, I would say this horned figure was. And so I look and I say, "Okay, that's fine." I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then I see three figures inside the inside the tower. So I'm looking at the tower and I'm saying, "Okay, what the hell is going on?" And I was like, "Am I even supposed to be here for something like this?" And God tells me, "Yeah." He's like, "You can be there." He's like, "I need you to witness this. I need you to talk about this and explain what's going on." And so I'm like, "Okay." So we're sitting there. I'm sitting there, and then I see the figure that I have been talking to was there, and then the figure, and then the two light figures were there as well. And one of the smaller lighted figures went away, and the bigger lighted figure, which was God, and the horned demon or devil-looking person was there as well. And I'm like, am I even supposed to be here? And then it wasn't God that was speaking to me. It was an angel that said, be quiet and watch. So what seemed like, a few minutes, it wasn't. It was longer than that. So I just looked up and I'm watching, and I saw the demon figure stood up, and you can see that he had wings and he had horns, and he looked like a man. He had a man's body. And so all of a sudden the wings started going away, and it was just, a normal man figure. Then the horns started, going away. And then it looked like a man just standing there. And then it went from a man to, a teenager, then to a child. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be seeing this. This is way, way too much. I'm like, and I got yelled at. As like a few angels were like, shut up and watch. And so I was like, okay. And I sit there, and what seemed like, only a few minutes was not. It was more like an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then the angel and then the light just went away. And then I heard God again, and he's like, you know what? He's like, this is a story you're going to tell. What you witnessed, people need to know, because Lucifer's going to come home. And I was like, what? And it's like, that's him? And I didn't know it was him. So he wasn't released right away. I had to do some things before I could release him from that prison they had him in. But I know how he got there. You see, the devil and the humans made Lucifer and his wife, and they took the spirits out of their bodies, and they buried their bodies, and they, locked them up inside these sacred places so they wouldn't get out, so they wouldn't remember who they were. And when I'm talking about Lucifer's wife, I'm talking about Lilith, the dragon. So she's not a dragon. She could just transform into a dragon, just to say it kindly. But anyways, so it took me a couple of weeks to figure out what I needed, the tools that I needed to release him, and then I released him, and he went home. And when people always talk about, Lucifer is the devil and this, that, no, Lucifer is not the devil. The devil is Lucifer's son, and Lucifer's son, and then the great spirit from their end, the Trinity, is Satan. This is the spirit. So with that being said, now you guys can kind of get the gist of who's who and where's where and what's what. So with that being said, I released Lucifer, and I was able to, do something good. I was able to watch something good happen. So when people think that God won't forgive, God forgives everybody. He doesn't want anybody to, to be, left out. And that's where you guys are all wrong. When you guys say you sold your soul, you didn't sell your soul, because if you sold your soul, your body would not be in existence. Your soul can go black, yes. It can be tarnished, it can be stained, but you know what? God can always make it white as snow with his blood. So that's bull. It's bull. You didn't sell your soul, because you wouldn't be alive if you sold your soul. Your soul is your life force. If your soul is gone, then there's nothing there. You wouldn't be able to talk. You wouldn't be able to, do whatever you need to do. You wouldn't be able to think. That's why zombies are soulless creatures. And yes, zombies are real, but they don't have souls in them. And that's why these demons are able to jump in and out of these different bodies when they're zombies, because, they don't have no entity inside them, holding them together. So they can do all this. So that was my thing with Lucifer. So one day, God tells me, okay, he's like, I need you to walk on the freeway, in the middle section of the freeway, and I'll tell you when to stop and when to dig. And I was like, okay. So I start at 20-something Avenue, and I'm walking in the center of the freeway like I own it. Police are flying by. They know exactly what I'm doing, highway patrols, but they're not stopping. They don't stop. They don't ask questions. They just move. And the reason why they move is because, or the reason why they don't stop and ask questions is because those are the ones that, God has control of. And God, they work for God. So they're not going to bother me. They're not going to, try to set me up or try to give me no ticket or try to do anything foolish, because they know that I work for the Lord. So it was about 10, maybe 8 or 9 when I was doing this. And I get close to the 7th Avenue, or the 7th Avenue exit. And God was like, look at the rocks. And I'm looking down, and there's salt rocks. Now, if anybody knows anything about, keeping somebody contained, an entity or an angel or anything, you use salt rocks when you want to keep a soul in place as a prisoner. So they use salt rocks. So I clear out all the salt rocks, and he was like, nah, you got to do more than that. You got to dig. And so the first layer of dirt, about an inch, was brown. It was dirt. So I'm digging, and it's starting to get red. And when I say red, I mean blood red. Digging. So there's your confirmation. I'm not telling stories that are lies. I'm telling the truth. So I'm digging, and I'm like, who is this? And then I heard a voice, it sounded like he was crying. He was like, Lilith, my wife. And I was like, what the hell? So I dig, and I get it all, I clear out all the white rocks, the salt rocks. And he was like, you're done. He was like, you can leave now. And he told me, there's a present for you underneath the lamp. And I'm thinking, okay, what the hell is this present? So I get my stuff together, and I start walking to the lamp, or to the light post or whatever. And there is a set of nuts that looked like they had been pulled out of somebody, because it had yeah. And then I was thinking, what the hell? And he starts laughing, and he was like, the person that you said that you want him to lose his nuts, there they are. And so I was like, oh shit. And I just started laughing, and I just left him there, and I walked away. Okay, let me be honest. Fuck, I picked them up first. I didn't know what they were. It's fucking gross, but I had gloves on, so it didn't even matter. But I just started laughing. I dropped them, and I was like, what the fuck? And it was kind of funny. It was really funny, actually. I haven't seen the guy because he's now in the hands of some demon that's making sure that he rapes no women, no children anymore. So it is what it is. But like I said, God has always been good. He's always been good to me. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do when he tells me to do it, like tell the stories that I have, because He says that it's going to help people. So I hope so. Okay, shit, I went over. Hold on. Oh, I could just edit it, I guess. I'll cut it out. Anyways, so I did that, and Lilith was, well, about a week later, she came to me, thinking she's funny, like always. And, she's a beautiful woman. She's the first. I don't see, Adam was stupid. He's a dumbass. But he couldn't handle the woman, so she was all woman. Wow. You see? This is the kind of stuff, I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I walked by here earlier. This wasn't there. But obviously, God wanted me to see it. So I saw it. Anyways. So one day, the powers that be, I was at the convention center, and I was looking at this wall that had, murals and different animals and stuff like that. In different states, I noticed. Every state had, its animal on there. And then he tells me, go to your origin. And I'm thinking, origin? What the fuck is he talking about? And then I heard somebody say in the street, where you from, dummy? And they wanted me to point it out on the wall. Well, I'm thinking, if I point to the wall, then they're going to say, well, that's where you're from. You're from the wall. And then they're going to try to put me there. And so I'm thinking, okay, I can't show them heaven because heaven's not here on earth, but I can go to the highest mountain and point up. So I do. I run over to the bus and I try to jump on a bus. And God's like, don't get on that bus. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because if you get on the bus, they're going to say that your origin is in the bus. And so I'm like, okay, so I stop. And I'm thinking, what the hell? I was like, well, how am I supposed to get to the mountain? He's like, no, that's not where you're from. He's like, where you came from was where you woke up at. And he's like, remember where you came from, where you were. And I was like, I woke up and I was like, in the morning? And he was like, yes. So I was on 7th Street. That's pretty strange because all the places where I find things are on 7th. So I was on 7th Street. And where I had to go was Central and Osborne. Well, somewhere in between there. So about 1 block south of Osborne. I don't remember the street's name. So I'm like, okay. So I start walking and God tells me, they're up to something, don't stop. And it's like, don't stop walking, because if you stop, they're going to say that's where you're from, that's where you stopped at. So I'm like, okay. So I keep walking, and I walk, and I'm speed walking now, and I get to where I woke up at, and I stop, and I look around, and I'm like, this is my origin. This is where I came from. This is where God planted my soul in me, and it was right here in this spot. And I was like, I forgot to tell you, so I made a deal. I was like, I'll play your game, but if I win, I make the rules. The devil makes no rules. I was like, if I win, I make the rules. And I heard agreed, because they thought I would lose. They didn't think that God was helping me, telling me what they were up to, and he was. So I do my thing, and I get there, and I'm like, okay, so my first rule is that the devil and Satan, they go to prison in hell to never be released. And the building to my south, to my left, it had these gold bars come up through the window. And then I saw 2 sets of eyes. And both eyes were looking at me, and they were mad as hell. You could see the hatred in their eyes. And Then I heard you can't do that. You can't do that. And I was like, why not? And he just said, take him out. Take him out of there. And so I did. And I was like, okay. Everybody that I know has done me wrong, they're in there. Anybody that hurts a child, has hurt a child that I have witnessed, they're in there. And all of a sudden, every window was beginning to get full of people. And I'm like, wow, okay. I was happy. I was happy because, okay, now I know that I'm in charge and I know that I'm making the rules and this is what's going on. Because the devil lost. They made a deal and they didn't tell the devil that I was from one place or another, which was not my fault. It was their fault. So when I say that, it wasn't my fault. So that's it. So I let him out. I let the devil and Satan out, and I put everybody else in. And they stopped. They stopped for a while, all the bullshit, which was good. But that's story time for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something what I'm trying to tell you. It's to have just that little bit of faith, and you'll make it. God doesn't want you to be punished, but He most definitely will punish your ass if you keep fucking up. Alright, I hope you guys have a good night. I'm out.